players, seeing how they've developed and grown and gotten stronger. And for us, with a new quarterback and a number of veteran players on the offense, and then a very solid and deep defense. Looking forward to a great year on special teams with Quinn. It's an exciting time. There's always a lot of talk about losing players that have really done well at Oklahoma State, but one thing that we look forward to as coaches is an opportunity to start to develop and watch young people grow. And so we're really excited about the season and looking forward to getting back to work.
Great, thank you. We'll take questions. We'll start up here on the front right and we'll move back.
Hey, Mike, David up at ESPN.com. How has Wes handled the aftermath of the spring and what all that meant for him?
You know, it's interesting. I haven't seen him in 6 weeks, 8 weeks. I'm in and out of the office, and those guys are down at the bottom level, training and throwing and going through strength and conditioning. And I know he's been in the room studying tape, but I haven't really spent a lot of time around him. We're not allowed to, so looking forward to getting somewhat reacquainted with him in the first weeks in August.
Question on the right.
Gina Mizell, the Oklahoman. Mike, you talked a lot in the spring about that you think this is the most depth that you've had on the defensive side as a head coach. Just how would you assess their progress in the spring, and just what are you most looking for them this season?
I enjoyed watching our defense with our athleticism and speed. And we were able to put players in there that are young, and we didn't have as much drop-off as what we had 3 or 4 years ago. And we have recruited toward some depth on defense and speed, and we're hoping that it's going to work out well for us. But we feel better now, or I feel better now than I have about our defense since I've been the head coach.
Question on the outside right.
Kels from with the Wichita Eagle, Kansas City Star. Coach, has Joseph Randall developed into the type of player you can lean on offensively?
Joseph has done very well for us, and he's been durable, not only a good runner inside but outside. He's been a good receiver. He pass blocks well. So between him and Jeremy, 1,900 yards and over 30 touchdowns. But Joseph has kind of established himself as a dominant back in this league.
Question on the right side.
Sean Front of the Kansas State Collegian. Staying on the topic of Joseph Randall, last year he had a pretty good year, but was probably overshadowed by Whedon and Blackman. Now he's kind of taking the forefront as being one of the main players. How do you think he'll handle that type of expectation?
Well, he should handle it well. He's been involved with Oklahoma State football now for 3 years, and so we have a certain way that we like to carry ourselves, and we talk about team being first and the success of our group. And I'm confident that Joe will handle it the right way. And he just has to remember that if not, then things can go the other direction. As soon as you think you've kind of arrived and established, there'll be somebody there waiting to knock you off, and I'm sure he understands that.
We got a question on the next to the last row on the left side. Right behind you. There you are.
Hey, Jimmy Trammell, Tulsa World. Coach, besides facilities, what's allowed you to do the things to win a championship last year? What's taking place besides facilities, and also why do you believe it can be sustained?
Well, our facilities gave us a chance a number of years ago. We've had tremendous continuity with our coaching staff. We had a plan, and we were able to stick with it, particularly in recruiting and our thought process and how we wanted to approach it, the type of young men we were looking for, try to be very detailed in how they fit into our style of play and what kind of character they had, and whether football and graduation and things that we think will contribute to success was really important to that particular player. And sustaining it, again, it comes down to recruiting and having quality people in our organization. It starts with our coaches. They've got to make good decisions. They've got to do the right thing. They have to care about the players. And then it filters down to our mature players, our seniors, juniors, young players. And so the overall picture of the one area, the one thing that I've mentioned over the last few years is our organization, our football program at Oklahoma State has come a long ways. And hopefully at this point, we've got development that's taking place that's going to filter for the next few years.
Question on the right side.
Barry Trammell with the Oklahoman. Mike, you said you've had tremendous continuity with your coaching staff, but you've had 4 offensive coordinators in 7 years, including one switch, which was a radical change. That's not great continuity. Why have you been able to be an excellent offensive program, even with constant turnover?
Well, I guess, continuity is probably not the best word. I guess cohesiveness in our willingness to work together. And whenever we have a turnover like that with coaches, that's a good thing. That means we're having success and other people are taking our coaches. But I'd like to think, Barry, in the way we practice, we believe in finding a goal, identifying what our strengths are, and how do we get them to football and eliminate as many mistakes as possible and enforce mistakes and turnovers on the other team. It's probably directly related to the success that we've had more so than any other area. But our coordinators that we have in place now, the coordinators that we've had that are now have gone on to be head coaches, have done a good job of being a head coach on that particular side of the ball, and I think that's important in football.
Question on the outside left.
Coach Mack Engel from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. This is a question about one of your former players, and that's specifically Des Bryant. Have you followed his career since he left Oklahoma State, specifically some of the off-the-field stuff, and do you see anything, any reason to believe why he might be able to get past some of these things that he's sort of stumbled on the last few years off the field?
Well, we certainly hope so. Des is, we all know, is an unbelievable talent and is trying to make strides to do the right thing. And I'm not really informed on what happened just recently. I only know what I saw in the news. I've been out of town and hadn't really paid much attention. It saddens me to hear negative things come out about Des, and hopefully he can get it together. When he was at Oklahoma State, we were with him all the time, every step of the way, and we never really had any issues with him. And when I look back at the times, I think that the coaches that were there, they were stood next to him and were there with him, and it worked out well for us. And hopefully he can get back into that trend in the NFL.
We've got a question. Go ahead, Tim. Tim's got his hand up, then we'll go to the outside.
Mike, Tim Griffin with the San Antonio Express News. During this little run you've had the last 3 or 4 years, you've always had a big play wide receiver who can really get a lot of yards when you look at Bryant and Blackman. Are you convinced that maybe you've got another guy to fill those shoes right now?
Well, I'm not sure that I'm ready to commit to one of these guys being a first-round pick. They're so far and few between. The comparison I would make is, years ago we talked about losing Kendall Hunter, and I felt like that Jeremy Smith and Joseph Randall, as a pair, needed to combine and give us what Kendall did, and those guys have been able to do that. We want 3 or 4 of our receivers this year to give us what Justin Blackman gave us this last year. And so that would be our goal, is for Wes to be able to develop and delegate the ball to the guys that can make the plays. But it is very difficult to replace Justin Blackman.
Okay, question on the inside and then we'll go to the outside.
Yeah, John Harris, Pittsburgh Tribune Review. Coach, given the Penn State situation, players are eligible to transfer and eligibility right now, what's just your overall philosophy on bringing in transfers?
Oh, I think there's a lot to digest right now. It's all happening so fast, and there's been so much information that's come out in the last 24 hours. We have not had a lot of success with players that have transferred. We've taken some, but overall, the majority of our success with our players have come from guys that have come in and been developed in our program. This is a unique situation in what's transpired, and our comment, without getting together as a staff right now, my comment would be that I think that, we have to take a look at everything that's going on. It is a long ways over there. It's not like, they're a 4-hour car drive from where we are. I'm going to guess that most of those players are somewhere from that part of the country. And so it's not a priority for us right now. But if there were some interest out there, I would think just like any other business or any other football team, you would look at it.
Question on the outside left.
Coach, you were at the top of the country last year in turnover margin. How do you do that again this year, especially with a freshman quarterback?
Well, there's no question that the success that we've had over the last few years has been directly related to our success in the turnover margin. We forced as many, if not more, turnovers than anybody in the country the last 2 years, and we've done a decent job of taking care of the ball on offense, and so we have to continue with it. And as I mentioned earlier, Wes has to understand his role, and that he's got a number of players that can really help him get the ball to those guys, not try to do too much. He can't put a lot of pressure on himself. He can't perform well in any sport playing under pressure. And our defense has to pick up where they left off last year. There's a number of those guys that are back and understand the importance of forcing turnovers.
Got a question in the front right.
Yeah, Mike, you said you'd like 3 or 4 guys to combine and give you what Blackman gave you. But behind Blackman last year, the last 2 years, you've had 3 or 4 guys that put up really good numbers behind him. So if you got 3 or 4 guys, those guys are now doing Blackman's numbers. Do you have to just find 7 or 8 guys to do what those 3 or 4 guys did the last 2 years?
Well, I think what what I was trying to say is we spread the ball out more than people realized. Earlier, we had a question come up about Joseph Randall. I don't know if everybody realized last year Joseph Randall touched the ball more than anybody on our team. And this year, in really crucial times, everybody knew that Blackman was going to get the ball. And this last year, I should say, this upcoming season, we don't have a guy that's established like Blackman, so in those situations, we'll have to use other people now. Tracy Moore's made a lot of plays for us. Isaiah's made plays for us. We talked about the running backs. And then, you talked about the other guys we had, like Josh Cooper last year, that had 74 catches. But for the most part, we have quality receivers in our program, and this incoming class that we have, the guys that are on campus, that will be on campus next week, may be as good as we've ever had. When you look at them on paper and how they develop, it's our responsibility to get them to that level. So ultimately in our offense, if we can get a number of guys, anywhere from 4 to 7, that at some point are good enough to get into an NFL camp, then we'll be in a great situation.
Any further questions? Dakota?